Hello and welcome to your Vedic Lunar Scope for today, the 31st of May, 2015. The moon today is still in Scorpio and is now in the nakshatra or lunar mansion of Vishakha. Let's talk a little bit about Vishakha and some of the things that it symbolizes. Let's touch first on the deities that it's connected with, because it's really going to give us an idea or an understanding of the processes that are connected with this particular lunar mansion or nakshatra. Because after all, that's what these lunar mansions are about. When the moon's passing through them, we're working on a particular process, and it's reflected in our outer actions that we take. Basically, as we are being driven to react to certain situations by the primary impulse of each particular lunar mansion, or nakshatra as they're also called. Now, Vishakha is connected to two particular deities in Vedic mythology, one being Indra, the king of the gods, and the other being Agni, the fire god. And actually, Vishakha is these two deities combined, called Indragni. Okay, so basically the concept here, Indra was the king of the gods, and he was given a lot of power through severe penance. He had something bestowed upon him that was called Sudarshana chakra. And with the Sudarshana chakra, he was able to cut through any illusion or anything that was opposing him, so to speak, right? And Agni, being fire, relates to purification. So in essence, the process of Vishakha is one of purification until we can find potential. And I want to touch briefly on something called the gunas. I've touched on this before, but it's good to talk about again so that you get an understanding of the energy of this particular lunar mansion or nakshatra, as they're also called. I'll just call them nakshatras from here on so that we don't have to go into that all over again, okay? So basically, there are three primary constituents of everything in creation. One being rajasic, which is in the energy of initiative. The other one being tamasic, which is the energy of resistance or density or opposition. And the other being sattvic, which is balance. If you've ever seen the old tarot card, the Wheel of Fortune, you'll see an entity on one side of the wheel that represents the descending force, another entity that represents the ascending force, and then you see a sphinx on top. And that very much comprises the concept of the gunas. You have a descending force, which is tamasic. You have ascending force, which is rajasic, and you have sattvic. Now, the interesting thing about Vishakha is it's a blend of all three of these constituents. It's tamasic at its base. In other words, it's firm, it's steady, okay, it's solid, okay? And it builds upon this with a very sattvic constituent of balance, looking at things in a balanced perspective. And then the third constituent is rajasic. Then comes the action. So primarily with Vishakha, we're sitting with a particular process until we know the right thing to do. And you can also imagine the concept of a bow being drawn and pointing at its target, and it's getting tighter and tighter, but it's waiting and it's holding. And if you look at the process that's been going on over the course of the last few days, well, you may be feeling like you haven't been quite so lucky in your attempts at whatever it is that you're trying to achieve, or whether it be in communication with another individual, looking for a job, any single number of things dependent upon where this is all happening in your particular chart. And it's because there's been an evolution that's been taking place over the course of the last several days, but it's not making you feel quite so happy inside. And even though there's a lot of strength and potential to the moon today as it is approaching its fullness in a couple of days, there is still a feeling of lowness or not quite happy. There's an inner knowing that is beginning to surface for you. in connection with whatever has been transpiring for you. And with that particular inner knowing, there's something that you don't feel quite so happy with about it. But do understand that knowledge is power. And even though you may not like what it is that you're recognizing, it is an important part of what is eventually going to provide the impulse to carry you closer towards your achieved goal, what you're looking for, what you're looking to achieve, so to speak, right? So today may find you re-examining your opportunities and options over which way you wish to go, and you've likely decided that you just want to wait until you get the right piece of information. But I do need to warn you that there is a potential danger of clamping down too tightly on your situation, and then missing a potential opportunity because you're being too firm or too solid. And that's being shown through the solar lunar yoga today. Sorry, a bit tongue twisted today with Mercury retrograde, being shown through the solar lunar yoga, which is called Purva, which is symbolized by an iron locking bar. That's Purva. It means being firm or being solid. And there's a danger of being a little bit too solid and missing a prime opportunity as it evolves and comes to the surface. And part of the motivating impulse behind this is being shown through the lunar tithi, which is Shukla Trayadashi. It's the 13th day of the bright half of the moon. And because of not really achieving the desired result, your desire is building up inside, but yet there's also a fear of acting on that desire, because if you act too impulsively on that desire, you're afraid also that you won't get the desired result. And so instead, you might be taking the opposite approach and clamping down a little too hard on your situation. So you want to give time for your situation to evolve, but you don't want to sit too still for too long. So my advice to you for today would be that if you see an opportunity that arises, why not start down that road? Why not see the result that it's going to bring? And a good sign is if there is that particular inner knowing, as I was talking about. And even if you're not happy with the revelation that's coming in association with that, do trust, please, that it is pointing you in the appropriate direction. Now, I can't know where this is happening in your particular birth chart unless I were to look at your birth chart in particular, because basically this could be falling in any sector of your chart. Let's say if it was falling in the 7th house, it could be a relationship-related issue. If it was falling in the 10th house, it could be a career-related issue. I don't know those things because I'm not looking at your personal birth chart. I'm just looking at the lunar energy for the day and giving you an overall general advice based upon those particular factors. If you would like for me to look at your chart for you, if you've got a perplexing situation going on or just need a little bit of advice, I do offer a vast range of astrological services which are available through the link that is further down in this YouTube video. If you close that down, there's a link further down the page in the description area as well. Please do subscribe if you have an opportunity to do so, and there is an opportunity because there's a link right down there in the corner. So click on the button and you'll receive regular updates every time a new video is released. That's going to do it for your Vedic Lunar Scope for today, the 31st of May, 2015. Until next time, please do take the utmost care of yourself. Bye for now.